I'm pretty flexible, you know.
Uh-huh.
Nobody likes major change, but I'm flexible, and everybody in here is, you know, and I have no problem. I've been in places where the door to the cell is solid, you know, is solid instead of bars, where...
I'd rather have bars if I were you.
Oh, no. You know why you wouldn't want to have bars?
Tell me.
Because you hear everybody's shitting and pissing, and you smell everybody's crap.
Oh, really?
You got to listen to everybody's TV and radio, and you got to listen to everything that's going on in the tier, and people come by and they just can just, you know, they just look in, and you have almost nil privacy with a solid door with just kind of a window and stuff. And all the cells out there, Tony, are not only bigger than our cells in here, but they all have 6-inch by 3-foot windows.
Okay.
6-inch by 36-inch windows to look outside. So
wow.
You don't open or anything, but you can still look outside.
Well, that's good.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Okay.
So, but with the solid door, see, you don't hear guys shit and piss, and you don't have to hear guys stuff, and you know, if they want to play their TV and radio a little above normal, you won't hear that. And and if guys walk by, it's going to be much harder for them to just glance in, you know, and know your business and stuff. And so, in that respect, it is better. Plus, I have no problem doing my own time, you know. There are a lot of guys that cannot do their own time. But I have no problem doing my own time. I have my reading and radio and the TV, and I've got my stuff I do, you know, writing and things like that. So I keep busy all throughout the day and everything. So, you know, that'll work out much better for me.
Hey, you murder phoniacs. This is your host, Tony Ciaglia, the serial killer whisperer. And this, oh yes, the man, the myth, the legend, the coxman himself. I love you, Dad.
I love you too. Good to be here.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, how did you like that shit we started with? Literally. Shit. No pun. No. Pun intended,
right?
Yes.
Woo.
Dad, we have to touch a little bit on that phone call.
Agreed.
Okay. But first, I wrote a little something on what I experienced Saturday night, this last Saturday night. I spend most of my weekends dancing to different live bands that play different venues or hotels around the city of Las Vegas. I've been doing this for years and favor going to 80s tribute bands and different classic rock bands. The talent in Las Vegas is top notch. If you're not the best, it's simple. You're not going to be entertaining in Las Vegas.
Very true.
Yes. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this past Saturday was no different than the hundreds of Saturdays that have come and gone in the past. I was dressed to the nines, and I had my dancing shoes shined and ready for 2 straight hours. Now remember, this is 2 straight hours on Friday night and Saturday night. I kick ass. Of shaking my shit and sending out an electric vibe that you could feel all the way out in the casino. Now that's top notch. About an hour into the band's 2-hour set, I saw a frail old woman who stood no taller than 5 foot. She had a caretaker with her, leading her around very slow. I walked up to the caretaker and asked her if I could have this dance. I told her not to worry, for I would be extremely careful with her. Her caretaker said, "That would be so nice of you." Then she told me that she was in the final stages of Alzheimer's disease. I held her hand as we walked out onto the dance floor. The people acted like I was Moses as they split right down the middle, like the Red Sea, for us to walk across the floor with no one in our way. That was pretty awesome.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. As the music played, I held both of her hands. I can't even remember which song the band was playing because I was completely engaged in her. She couldn't talk, but her smile and dancing eyes spoke volumes. Her dementia and our surroundings were deaf-mute subjects. For those few moments, both our lives were touched in a way that either one of us will ever forget. And at that very moment, we were infinite.
I wished I would have been there. You know?
It was quite a moment.
Yeah. You remember when you danced with Mary?
Yeah.
Tony used to perform at the assisted living homes as Elvis. I think we might have talked about this, but there was that woman there, Mary, and this kind of reminded me of that. She loved it.
Yes.
First time I think you danced with her, she was 100, right? Or 101.
No. 103.
No, the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
she lived to be 103, but she had a secret, didn't she, Tom?
Yes, she did. She didn't have dementia, though.
No, she didn't.
No.
Sharp as a tack.
Sharp as a tack, a spry old thing.
Yes, she was.
I asked her, "Mary, what is it that you owe your longevity to?" And she said, "Well, Tony, drink a little bit, eat good food, and lots of good sex." Ooh, that's
Mary.
that's my kind of woman, right? Right there.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
That was really well written. About how old was that woman, Tom?
90.
Oh, so she was up there.
She was up there, yeah.
Okay. No, that was really nice. And the people were respectful.
No, they were clapping at the end of the song.
That's so nice. That's
Yeah.
great. That really is. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm glad I
Appreciate
could.
it, bud. Now we got to talk about. It doesn't seem right, does it?
No, we're talking about just amazing things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I
Mary
that
and
was
this elderly lady.
Yeah. And you want to know the truth? I was trying to extend it out a little. That's why I told the Mary story again, because I knew we were going to have to get in. After that beautiful opening, we were going to have to get into this opening. The Kenny. Oh, no. Tony, no.
I always love when you do that.
He's so bad.
Uh-huh.
Doors are better than bars. They definitely are. And then, see, you learn something every day, don't you? The smartest man in the room, Mr. Bianchi, taught you a little something that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You said bars, and oh, no. It's just he's so disgusting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we're gonna go backwards now.
Yeah.
Why the bars are worse than the doors,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because when you have the doors, you don't have to listen to your neighbor shit and piss, and you don't have to smell it. You imagine that? I never really thought about that before. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now that's
No question about it. Yeah. I never thought of it.
But now that we brought it to you guys, I know you're all like going wherever. If you're in your car, your living room, listening to us, watching us, you're going, oh.
Just don't shut us off. It gets better.
Yeah. But it's a picture you'll never forget. And then he goes on to say when guys walk by, they can't glance in.
Yeah. That's important to Kenny.
Yeah, but if I was in prison and I was walking by bars,
Yeah.
and there was some guy taking a nice crap, I'm not going to stop and look in at him, gaze in on him. You know?
You're right.
So basically, when you don't have bars, you can enjoy doing your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when Ken said that, my own time, that's a lot of fucking time he's doing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And it's deserved.
Yeah.
Oh,
It certainly is.
yes. You know, though, I can't think of a better guy.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody except for his adjacent cells should be doors, but the adjacent cells to Kenny should be bars.
Yeah.
And they should take all the sick guys that are like sick to their stomach and put them in those adjacent cells so Kenny could smell that.
Don't you wish you ran it?
Oh, my.
You could take care of it then.
Uh-huh.
Kenny there in the middle with the bars, and then bars here and bars here, right? And maybe across the hall from him.
Yeah.
Right across.
Right across.
Could you hear the whining?
Or maybe hadn't, but you'd get like 100 different grievances, you know?
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We had a few laughs with that disgusting description. All right, today, guys, we're going to let Captain Kenneth Bianchi take the stand.
Come on, Dad. What the fuck?
What?
Come on.
What?
You just said it. The man is a captain. Salute the guy for crying out loud.
I'm sorry.
Salute him.
How's that?
God, show some fucking respect.
Here, both hands.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
That whole captain thing, I got to milk it for every drop I can get out of it.
It caught on, too. Well, a lot of comments about the captain.
The captain.
Yes, sir. All right, so today we're going to let the captain take the stand and present his case. Because the title of this episode is, I Never Killed Anyone. It's All Fiction. Now, this jack-off faked being a multiple personality disorder and has confessed, pleaded guilty, and asked for a plea deal so he wouldn't get executed.
Coward.
Big time.
Coward.
Yeah. But all we've heard this season, and I think you guys can attest to that, is how innocent he is. So here we go, guys.
I still got to give him shout out to props for that MPD.
For the actor? Yeah, I said, he should have been in Hollywood as an actor.
Yeah.
He was good.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Steve. Angelo did this one. Yeah, I killed this bitch. this cunt, I don't know who she is, but I think she changed her hair. Did she change her hair?
Oh, I don't know. How would I know? Isn't it? That's what he sounded like.
Yes.
The cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like you very much, he said. Anyway, so he was good. He really was. He fooled a few people. All right. So always we've heard is he's innocent. Bianchi said if he could get information out to the world, he could prove his innocence. So Captain Bianchi, here's your chance. The show goes out to the world. Remember when we told you he tried to put the Hillside Strangler murders on another serial killer, the name of Bill Suff? Here's what Kenny had to say about it. But first I want to show, and everybody on YouTube will see this when Kenny's talking about him, but Tony knew him. Well, for quite a while.
Yes.
And here's a young picture of him. And it's pretty rare, I'm sure. It's a Christmas card. And on the inside, you'll see that he wrote a message. And here it is down here, signed Bill Suff. There's the picture. But if you're on YouTube, you'll see a much clearer picture, and you'll be able to read this message. Because this was better times, according to Bill. This guy's a piece of shit. I mean, he really, I don't even like touching the card.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So bad. All right. Anyway, you're going to hear Ken talk about Bill Suff and why he was the Hillside Strangler.
You know that the guy, that Suff guy.
William Suff, yes.
Yeah, he was convicted of 13 of 19 murders in Riverside, and he committed 11 murders in Los Angeles, and he's suspected of, I think it's 3 or 4 murders in San Diego, and on top of that, while Angelo and I sat in jail behind bars, there were 3 more murders there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
But I know who William Suff is.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
According to him, he didn't commit 1 murder.
Oh, of course.
Did you also know that he murdered his I think 12-month-old baby?
Yeah, that's the time he did 7 short years for that in Texas.
Yes, he did. You know all about that then.
And this guy, the reason why Ted knows about this guy is because Suff sat down and admitted a whole slew of things to a Riverside County sheriff investigator. And the sheriff investigator started putting all the pieces together because he was saying things that are related to the case I was charged and convicted in, and a bunch of other stuff, and he tipped off Ted, and then Ted took it from there and stuff. The investigator tipped off, and the investigator's retired now, but he's the one that tipped off Ted that, you know what, this guy is that guy and not Bianchi or Bono, you know, and then sort of set Ted off on that, you know, on that path.
Did you get convicted of the 2 murders in Washington?
Yeah, that was part of the plea agreement and stuff that I signed what's called an agreement between the parties.
Yes.
Which contractually obligated me to plead to certain charges.
Okay.
And those 2 were included in that to resolve for Washington State.
In Bellingham.
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't understand how it went from Washington to you supposedly being the Hillside Strangler.
I told you that in that thing I wrote to you, didn't I? Oh no, did I? No, I didn't. Did I tell you how it got all?
It must have confused me then.
Okay, well, the next time I write you, I'll explain it. I'll explain how. Sure, I talked about Varney came to Bellingham. Varney from Los Angeles, this LAPD detective came to Bellingham, and the jewelry that really had nothing to do with anything, that he lied and said it was something else, and he made up information about the hairs that were never found in Bellingham, and then went back down to Los Angeles and talked to the chief of police, told the chief of police that I was the guy, and the chief of police put pressure on the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor refused the charge, and the chief of police held an impromptu news conference, and in doing so put public and political pressure on the district attorney, John Van de Kamp, who was hoping to eventually make it to become California Attorney General, and based upon having no evidence whatsoever, I got charged in California, and that's how I got pulled into the California case. And then once they charged me, they sent the police files and photos from Los Angeles to Washington, and my lawyer, upon receiving them, carried them into the jail and turned them over to me for to be kept in my cell, and for me to read and go over, and it's discovery, so that you have an opportunity to go over everything and assist in your defense. But the problem is that they allowed me to read all that and read
60 seconds remaining.
And read all that stuff, and
Let's see the pictures.
Case,
Yeah.
did the hypnosis thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that help at all?
That does.
Hold on.
Yes.
I just want to point something out.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a wire mustache.
Oh, yeah. He said that, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Wiry?
Yes.
Kind of wiry?
Kind of wiry. So you guys out there, if you have a mustache, I think it's a good time to shave it.
Because Kenny had one.
Because Kenny had one and Bill Suff had one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. Bill Suff. What a fucking creep.
So anyway, you just heard him. You heard Kenny talking. He knows the statistics of Bill Suff's crimes. 13 murders in Riverside, 11 murders in L.A., suspected of 3 or 4 in San Diego. And on top of that, while Angelo and I were sitting in jail, 3 more murders happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that, though.
Tony tells him, you could hear on the phone call, oh, yeah, Bill Suff, I know him. I know him quite well. And you could hear Kenny. He didn't like that too much, did he?
No.
That you were talking to him.
He kind of fades out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Asshole.
No. Why would you write a guy like that?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Terrible.
Terrible. So, Ken, he says there were 3 murders while Angelo and I sat in the LA County Jail. Right? And then I go on to say, I didn't know that. And the captain, in all his smugness, says, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, like he was really giving you something.
Like he was up on me.
Oh, he was so smug.
Mm-hmm.
He was making a revelation, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Look at me. Exactly.
Can I say one thing, too, about Bill Suff? Mm-hmm. Talk about falling through the cracks of justice. This clown was in Texas. He killed his baby. You talked about that on the phone, too, and Kenny knew all about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he only did a short 7 years. I mean, Ken knew everything about Bill Suff, but he was a bad guy, so he didn't want to get too much into it. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, but 3 murders? That's nothing.
I know.
Somebody gets murdered in Los Angeles probably every hour.
Yeah, so what the fuck does it mean, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, wow.
Does this have anything to do with, Bill Suff, a real fucking creep? And never mind. I can't say it.
Okay.
I can't say it.
All right. Okay.
I know a Bill who's a real fucking creep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
It's not professional.
Okay. All right. Here's a movie review, and you're all going to go, what the fuck is he talking about? A movie review. And it's about a B movie, an old movie based on the Hillside Stranglers. I came across this when we were doing some research.
Yeah.
And here's the movie review. The name of the movie is Hillside Strangler. Yes. That's very original.
Mm-hmm.
Hillside Strangler was pretty much blah if you're in the market for fictional Hillside Strangler stories with semi-pro acting and overused looping camera work. Samantha Stone is a psychologist who uncovers the truth behind Angelo Bono and Kenneth Bianchi's killings by finding out what Kenneth is hiding. It's ploddingly predictable. So I saw this, right?
All right. So my review,
Yeah.
I saw it too.
Okay.
Fucking garbage.
You're right, right?
I am.
That would have been a better review than this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at the bottom, guys, there's one comment. One. And the name caught my attention. It's Ted Ponticelli.
I was going to go out on a limb and guess that.
Were you?
I was.
That's a limb.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you. All right. So anyway, Ted Ponticelli was right there. And he says at the bottom of this review, William Suff is the Los Angeles Hillside Strangler, not Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Bono. I spent 7 years researching the case, and there is no evidence that substantiates Bono or Bianchi were the killers. LAPD did a bad job. William Suff is now on death row in California for the murders of 19 women in an adjacent county of Riverside.
I bet Ponticelli would like to have those 70 years back.
Yeah, wouldn't he?
Mm-hmm. What a waste of fucking time and energy.
And you guys you wait for this. At the bottom, after when he wrote this comment,
Yeah.
the bottom of the comment, after Boney and Bianchi were in LA County Jail, 3 more murders occurred.
Not in L.A. Are you kidding?
Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Let's put this crazy. We got to put this to bed now. Okay? Because this is just craziness. It's bullshit. This is from Bill Suff's record. And you can look it up on the internet. Everything is there. This is from his record. Though Suff was sentenced to 70 years in a Texas prison for killing his child, he served only 10 years before his 1984 release on parole.
Hold on. Yes, you heard that correct. He murdered his own child.
Yeah.
He shook the child to death. And I'm really disappointed. I mean, that's Texas. The cowboy hat and all.
I know. I don't get
They're
it.
really firm there with their,
I know.
how that asshole slipped through the cracks.
I'm going to read this again for them.
Okay.
Though Suff was sentenced to 70 years in a Texas prison for killing his own child, he served only 10 years before his 1984 release on parole. So, and I'm going to give Bianchi the benefit of the doubt, seeing as how he's on trial. Even if Suff only served 7 years, like Bianchi said, he still would have been in jail in Texas.
That just kills the timeline.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. It's over.
And Ken went on to say, an investigator said Suff confessed to many things that led him to believe that Suff was the Hillside Strangler. Now, Tony, you knew Bill Suff really well.
Yeah.
Did he confess to anything?
Not one. Not in all the years that him and I converse. What a creep.
Because they... Oh, he's so bad.
Yeah, like
He makes my skin crawl.
Like the old movie Creep Show, the
Yeah.
Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
Old
Terrible.
movie. Yeah, he should have been on that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
No, he never did confess to anything.
Nothing.
Oh, my God. He's a fucking Boy Scout like Ken.
You got to remember now, they didn't have DNA back then. So it's, I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it all the time.
Yes.
Bill Suff, Randy Kraft, Captain Bianchi. I mean, we could go through them. They didn't do anything.
Well, what's great about Randy Kraft is he got caught with a body in his car.
Oh, I know.
You know?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
He still didn't do it.
No.
So anyway, the timeline doesn't work.
Nope.
It's ridiculous. William Suff never talked or admitted any of his crimes. I mean, he told Tony many times on calls, right? He never killed anyone.
Yep.
It's a classic case, like I said a few minutes ago, of falling through the cracks of justice, except he was not the Hillside Strangler. And Kenny, those are the facts. All right, I'm going to give you the facts, Kenny. The Hillside Strangler murders, which you already know, took place between October 1977 and February 1978. The time frame is irrefutable. I'm not sure what the fuck Ted and Kenny are even talking about, because it would have been pretty rough for Suff to have been the Hillside Strangler, given he was still in jail in Texas.
In Texas.
Until 1984. Even if it was 7 years, he would have been out in 1981. The murders were done. Tony asked Ken if he was convicted of the Bellingham murders. He explained about how it was all part of the plea deal. Of course, everything was fabricated, and it really wasn't evidence. Right, Tony?
Yeah. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There was lots of evidence. Excuse me. There was lots of evidence against this clown.
Mm-hmm.
Like the jewelry they found in Bianchi's Bellingham apartment. 2 pieces that belonged to Yolanda Washington. Remember her, Kenny?
The first one.
Uh-huh. I know you remember her. Yeah. And Christina Weckler. Both Strangler victims. Their jewelry was found in your fucking apartment. How do you explain that?
I gave it to Kelly.
Yeah, he gave it to Kelly.
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
You know what? To me, the jewelry, that's enough evidence right there to put that asshole in a gas chamber. That's it.
For sure.
Well, yeah, why listen to him?
I know.
You know, all of his crap.
Yeah. Well, but we told him we'd give him a fair trial at the beginning of the season, didn't we?
Yeah, there's nothing fair with me, though.
I know. Fuck him.
Fuck him.
All right. Ken also mentions Discovery again. He was allowed to read all the...
Did you say Discovery? It's Discovery, you dickhead. I had to do it. I had to do it.
That was great.
Yes.
My Cousin Vinny, you guys already know that.
Yeah.
Watch that movie.
Marissa Tomei.
Fabulous movie.
Yes.
So anyway, he mentions Discovery again because he was allowed supposedly to read all the files, and that's why he knew all the details for the hypnosis. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, Kenny, why didn't you go to trial if there was no evidence and you knew nothing about the crimes? Why didn't you just go to trial? It would have been
Yeah.
1-2 days, you would have been found not guilty and been out on the street killing again. Why didn't you do it, Kenny?
Mm-hmm. Because there is a thing called evidence.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
And there was plenty of it. Let's hear a little more, sorry guys, from Bianchi.
So anyways, what happened was, when we were in Bellingham, right,
Mm-hmm.
they tossed this overhead view of this short street. It in the deal looked like probably about a third of what would be the size of a block or something. Anyways, it was a short side street, and they said, mark on the deal where the car was, where she parked, and blah, blah, blah stuff. Well, I had read that in the reports, but the problem was the report didn't say exactly, wasn't specific as to where her car was parked. And so I marked the deal on the photo, and they didn't say anything, and blah, blah, and stuff. So what happened was, when I got down to L.A. and stuff, and when they took me out on the street, with them and everything and stuff, what happened was they took me to the street, and they said, okay, now pick the spot where her car was. I didn't have a freaking idea, man.
I didn't think you did.
So I did was I saw a spot that kind of looked like the spot on the photo that I had where I had made my mark and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out I was not only wrong on the photo, which of course I knew that. I mean, I knew there was a pretty good chance, with the odds I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wrong. I was wrong when I was standing on the actual street. That apparently, according to them, what they told me was the place where her car had been parked when she was abducted and stuff was probably about 80 yards away from either one of the two spots that I pointed to and stuff. But you know what? The reason why I'm saying that, Tony, is because they kept their mouth shut. They didn't say anything during Angela's trial. They didn't. They just kept their mouth shut, man. They just let it. They let the lie. I mean, they just let it. It just was so much crap. They knew I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. They knew I didn't know what I was talking about on 2 occasions concerning that one matter, and they just let it go like nothing was happening.
Are you talking about the attorneys?
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about. Hey, my lawyers were oblivious. I'll get back to them. I was talking about the cops and the prosecutors. They didn't say boo.
Okay.
What happened was my lawyers in California. Now I'm facing these charges, right? I'm facing 5 murder charges down there. That's what they charged me with. They charged me with 5 charges, and on the 9th of May, 1979.
Okay.
And so what happened was my lawyers down there, the public defender's office, they didn't talk to a witness. They didn't ask to look at a piece of evidence. They didn't read a single police report. They didn't read anything from the police file. They didn't do nothing. They read the news. They listened to what the cops said. They listened to what the prosecutor said, and that was the end of it. And then they left everything, and I do mean everything, to conclusion to my Washington lawyer, who knew nothing about California law.
Yeah. When you were there,
it was a good time, I'll tell you. I really. But nobody was there to watch my back. Nobody was there to watch out for my rights. Nobody was there to watch these people, and I had nobody to turn to say, hey, don't you see what's going on here? I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm feeding them this stuff, and it's baloney, and they're accepting it.
Yeah.
When I went into the deal, and it didn't start out that way. When I went into the deal after the hypnosis, and I went into the prosecutor's library in Bellingham, Washington, where the cops from California were all sort of, together and everything, and I started out, I said to myself, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to try to be as truthful, my lawyer says, be as truthful as possible. So I go in there, and every time, and it was like right from the first question on, every time I said, I don't know, I have no idea, they'd slam their pens on their pads on this table. They had it was the library of the prosecutor's office in Bellingham. It's got this long table with these chairs. They'd slam their pens on their pads. They'd stand up and they'd say, "We're leaving." And my lawyer would take me out of there and take me to another room, and he'd tell me, "If they leave, you're a dead man. If they leave, they're going to give you the death penalty. You're a dead man. You better go in there and you better tell the truth and you better stop this nonsense." And if we did that once, as God is my witness, Tony, if we did that once, we did that, I don't remember how many times.
Into that room?
Guys threatened to pack up and leave because I didn't like the fact that I didn't know this or that and the other thing and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of. I mean,
Hey, I could spend days telling you stories of just how much fiction both cases are, and what facts support my saying that and stuff. I mean, and all the crap that they pulled that I went along with because I really felt my life was on the line. My lawyers weren't doing anything, and I was told to trust all these people that I really had no business trusting.
You know, we're sorry we had to bore you with this shit. But we felt you needed to hear what I had to deal with for all those years.
It's get even, isn't it?
Yeah, right?
Because you were just saying, why do we have to even listen to this guy?
Uh-huh.
But we had to.
We had to.
Because you did.
Yes.
You listened to it.
What's only fair?
7 years.
7 years.
That was like having a 7-year sentence. You and Bill Suff. Shit.
Oh. Wow. You know, he marked the picture where the car was supposed to be. The police just let him lie. They just let him lie, yeah.
I thought you were pointing to me to say that.
Oh, no.
Let him lie. No, yeah, you were pointing because I was doing this.
The famous jerk-off.
Well, he is.
Uh-huh. The Bianchi wine. We've had fans write in saying they can't stand this guy's voice.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
The Bianchi wine.
This calls for double.
TBW. The Bianchi wine.
Yeah.
Double.
Nobody
was there to watch his back. He had no one to turn to. The cops just let him lie. You know, he's like a chatty Cathy doll, okay? Except he pulls his own string, and you can't control it, so it just keeps on going.
Stop it. But it won't stop.
It won't stop. He did all these lies, you guys, to avoid the death sentence, the death penalty. His lawyer said, if the cops leave, you're a dead man. You're dead, Kenny. You got to tell the truth.
And the cops were sick of it.
Oh, my gosh.
What we were rehearsing. Yes. What did you say? Why didn't they just shoot him?
Yeah.
Right? They wanted to.
They wanted to. Salerno and Grogan.
Yeah, they wanted to.
They actually have been said on film, I wanted to put a bullet in this guy's head.
I wish they would have.
Gosh.
Of course, we wouldn't have our show. I mean, the Bianchi season. The Captain season, right?
Yep. So once again, we have to ask, Kenny, why didn't you go to trial? Why? An innocent person would have gotten right off.
They'd want trial.
They'd want trial to
prove it's all a lie, right?
Mm-hmm. Your own mother didn't think you were innocent, Kenny. I asked this piece of shit a bunch of questions. And of course, I got a letter back with some more B&B. Not Bundy and Bianchi. Bianchi bullshit.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you like that?
I like it.
Yes. Here is a part of a letter dated July 24th, 2008. When I signed a plea agreement, you mean when you sold your fucking reptilian, deadbeat, loser, rapist, child molesting, murdering, piece of shit cousin Angelo out? Is that what you mean? You like that?
That was great.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the letter. Excuse me, I get a little upset.
I guess. I don't blame you.
I was obligated to talk and give evidence. When I took the stand, I had already told the cops and prosecutors that I didn't know what I was talking about. I wish I could do his whiny voice. Like when I'm reading, that would be perfect.
Thank
if I
God.
could.
Thank God you can't.
Oh.
Let me just reiterate. This is the letter that Ken Bianchi wrote. So Tony's words are his words, aren't they? Sometimes I think they forget.
100%.
100% Captain.
Captain. I even told the DA, Jim Hines, that I was making stuff up. Then he and the cops thought I was playing games. That's because you were playing games. Any means necessary. Right, Kenny? Mm-hmm. Bianchi wrote a letter to the world. We are the world. We are children. Bianchi wrote a letter to the world stating that he is innocent and Angelo Bono is the true killer. Bono went on trial in 1981, but Bianchi was a terrible witness. He admitted faking multiple personality disorder, but did not know if he was telling the truth about his cousin and was not even sure he himself was guilty.
Oh.
Based upon my untrustworthy statements, the DA's office moved to dismiss charges against Bono. The judge who wanted to get appointed to the state Supreme Court listened to the police chief and refused. You guys see, if Ken made it look like he wasn't telling the truth and they threw the case against Bono out, then Kenny figured that he would be able to get out of his plea agreement. You've said time and time again, that's exactly what he was doing.
It's exactly the two of them were doing.
Mm-hmm. If Bono didn't do it, then he could say he was coerced because of the hypnosis.
Exactly.
Yeah. Back to the letter. I took the stand, and when the Attorney General assistant simply repeated what I said during hypnosis, etc., I simply answered yes or no. I said this, and that took about a day or so. From the time of the hypnosis to the start of the trial, out of fear.
It's really getting deep.
You're a wild one today.
It's really getting deep.
Yeah. I said this, and that took about a day or two. From the time of the hypnosis to the start of the trial, out of fear or to please the cops, I had to fabricate thousands of facts and details. Put in a corner, I manufactured conversations, all of the alleged conversations, routes, and so on. The world had been sold that I was the guy. Yeah, that's right. I'm the guy. I'm the fucking guy.
You'll never be the guy.
I was the guy. My lawyers had failed me. The cops threatened me when I honestly said, I don't know, like many, many times until I got wise, and nobody cared that I had made stuff up. Nobody questioned hundreds, if not thousands, of inconsistencies. Not my lawyers, not the cops, not the prosecutors, the jury, the judge, the public. No one questioned the obvious. Except Bono's lawyer, who questioned me on most all my inconsistencies for 6 months. You imagine listening to this asshole for 6 months up there on the stand?
Remember when I said both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, Bono. Bono never said a word at the trial. He never said a word from the time he was arrested. But he saw a way out, too. And he got his lawyer hammering those inconsistencies. Mm-hmm. So, in effect, they were working together to try and get out of this shit.
Because when you're a reptile, you're the man. Yeah, you're the fucking man.
And he is a reptile.
Oh, he's disgusting. He even looks like a lizard man.
I know.
Right?
Ooh.
In private, I begged, but no one would listen to me. The world's anger, hunger for justice, and drive that the cops might be right. And the cases must be resolved. The careers at stake, and let's not forget, the politics. No. There were no politics involved, Dad.
No.
You look at those girls laid out on those fucking hillsides, and those 2 girls stuffed in the back of their back seat in Bellingham, Washington.
And those 2 children?
Yeah.
12 and 14.
That they kidnapped and they used and abused and raped for days. You know, there's no politics.
No.
You're a monster.
Yeah.
And that's it. I guess this guy forgot that he pleaded guilty to 7 murders, which is so funny. He really fucked himself in Bellingham, didn't he?
Couldn't help it.
Why?
Because his nuts got all tight when he heard the death penalty was coming. You know, when they finally figured it was a fake.
Yeah.
You know, his multiple personality disorders.
Huh.
He was going down. He was going to get executed.
I guess he forgot that he admitted that there were no MPDs. So if the MPDs were fake and made up, how did he know so much about the killings? And why did he throw Angelo under the bus to avoid the death penalty? I'll tell you what. Because Angelo was he was an asshole. I would have thrown him under the bus if he was my cousin.
He's one of the worst human beings, isn't he?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah. And why wouldn't he throw Kenny why wouldn't Kenny throw him under the bus?
Right.
I mean, Kenny hated him. No, Kenny knew that he hated
he hated him. He hated Kenny. There's the question again, right?
Why, Kenny, if they had no evidence, didn't you go to trial and prove it? Back to the letter. Boy, he's really into it in this letter, isn't it?
Well, think of what kind of a jack-off you got to be to sit down and write a letter like this. You asked him a bunch of legitimate questions, and this is what came back.
At the end, through the hypnosis sessions and the end of Bono's trial, no detail, not in a police file or photo, could be verified. The fuck is he talking about? What is he talking about?
I have no idea.
Gosh. And I had given no less than 60 versions of details. It was and remains outrageous. Other than Ted, that's Ted Ponticelli. Other than Ted, who can only write, no one can help. Lawyers, whoever, just won't help. So Ken said at the end of Bono's trial, no detail, not in a police file or photo, could be verified. It was and remains outrageous. The only thing that is outrageous is you, Ken. There was plenty of evidence. So Ted can help. You mean the guy that said Bill Suff was the Hillside Strangler, even though he was in jail until 1984? Even Francis, Ken's mom, hated the guy. How's that working out for you, Kenny? Huh? How's that working out?
She called him a huckster, right? Quick buck huckster. Remember when we were there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She hated him.
Mm-hmm. Back to the letter. He's still ranting on, you guys.
Still in the letter.
Yeah. I can prove a miscarriage and corruption if only the right person or people could look past bias and the stigma associated with the colorful implications from my pleas or the colorful implications from the multitude of false information that is out there. Mm-hmm. Yes, people, he's actually saying this.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say right now.
You read my mind. You took the words right out of my mouth.
He actually says, but the truth will die with me. We certainly hope so, because everyone knows you and your creepy reptilian cousin killed all those innocent girls. And that fact will never change.
That's what happens when people get wrongly convicted, when there is a public outcry, when there is political outcry, when there is desperation in the midst of some terrible things happening, some terrible crimes happening and stuff. And the more heinous the crimes and the longer they go unsolved, the more desperate the cops become, the more desperate the prosecutors become, the more desperate the public becomes, putting pressure on everybody, and the politicians, putting pressure on the politicians. Why hasn't this been served? What's going on? Why aren't you making it safe out here? All that stuff. So if I can in some way use this new information about how the police knew that my hypnosis-induced stuff, which they used to support my pleas, was false and inaccurate, and then get my statements thrown out, there would be nothing to prosecute me with. Absolutely not a single thing. No fact, no nothing. But that's the problem, because of all the hysteria and all the, everybody figuring it's settled and everybody assuming that people in hypnosis tell the truth, and then all the garbage that's been piled on after my convictions, as far as people saying things that really aren't supported by facts, aren't supported by evidence. I've seen so much speculation, Tony, so much bald speculation now accepted as fact in the public, because after I pled guilty, it was open season.
Yes.
And I had no defense against anything anybody felt they wanted to say, because I was libel-proof. Remember I told you about that early on?
Yes, I remember that.
Great job, buddy.
Thank you. I never thought that was going to end.
Well,
I forgot about
that letter was just unbelievable. That wasn't even the whole letter. Well, you know that, but I'm telling them.
And all those victims that are up there in heaven right now, they're looking down and they're listening to that letter that this asshole who raped and tortured and killed them stands by.
I know. And he won't admit it. And here he goes again. You guys just heard him. Here he goes. People get wrongfully convicted when there's a public and political outcry. Boy, he just hangs on that, doesn't he?
No, he does.
Yeah, there's an outcry when you kill 6 girls in 1 month, when you kill 10 girls in 4 months, when you run off to Bellingham and kill 2 more innocent victims in about 6 months that you were there. Yeah, there's a political and moral outcry. Because you suck, Kenny. And you won't admit shit. And it makes me sick to my stomach. And then he said, the more heinous the crimes and the longer they go unsolved, the cops, the prosecutors, the public, the politicians, everyone gets desperate and the pressure starts building to convince somebody. And you just happen to be there, right, Kenny? If he could use the fact that hypnosis was not supposed to be used to get him, then there would be no other facts to convict him. That is the most wrong statement I think you've made here today. First of all, the hypnosis, you loved it. That was a game. You were Academy Award nominee for that.
I loved it.
And you wanted to do it. You had those saps fooled. But they used it in the court against you. Oh, my God. That wasn't supposed to happen. But if you could have gotten that thrown out, there was no other evidence. That's fucking bullshit, Ken. Stop.
Stop.
And then you went on to say, because of all the hysteria and the belief people have that only the truth comes during hypnosis, that's bullshit too. Do you know anybody that says, oh, hypnosis is 100% accurate?
No.
I don't.
No.
All the fake news and phony speculation is now accepted as fact in the public. This is Ken talking. Because after he pleaded guilty, it was open season because he is libel proof. So, of course, everyone was lying except Kenny. What the fuck?
Right.
There's that little violin playing.
You know, and I got to go back to where you're talking about hypnosis. I went to a hypnosis show here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And yes, yours truly, moi. I was asked to get up on stage and he was going to hypnotize me. And it was like, I faked him out. I faked the fucking crowd out. You know, I was funny. I pretended like I was hypnotized.
But you weren't.
I wasn't.
No, I know.
No.
Did Kelly testify against you?
Did what?
Kelly testify against you.
I don't know what Kelly did. I don't know. I maybe know about 3 or 4 who testified during Angela's case. I don't know if Kelly. I don't know if she testified against me. Listen, Kelly went on. I was in jail and I had a little radio, and Kelly went on KABC radio in 1979. Early 1980, I was in Los Angeles. I was in jail in Los Angeles, and she went on there, and she went on this radio show, and she said, and she didn't know any, there was nothing to know. I lived with her, and she said, you know what's weird? He was home every night. He was home with me. He lied in bed next to me, and Kelly's really not a stupid person, and she told this reporter, what I don't get is that if he had been out all those nights supposedly committing these crimes, wouldn't I have put that together that, oh my goodness, he's been out this night, and this night, and this night? She says, but the fact is that every night he was home with me. Stuff.
Wow.
And that's exactly what she told this woman reporter on KABC radio in Los Angeles in like, it was late 79, early 80. And,
okay. And about Angelo's crime, when you were in L.A. at that trial?
Pardon?
Was it in L.A., the trial for Angelo?
What was what in L.A.?
The trial for the California crimes.
What about it?
Yes. Were you like sitting next to him in the trial?
No, I was not in. No, it wasn't my trial. I had nothing to do. He had totally different, totally separate prosecutors. I didn't have a trial. He had a trial. I wasn't in the courtroom, which is why I didn't know what the two Bellingham police investigators said during his trial, because I wasn't in the trial. I wasn't at the trial. I wasn't privy to what anybody was saying, except occasionally what showed up in the news. But pretty much I was totally in the dark. So was my lawyer. My lawyer wasn't in there either. The only time my lawyers were in the courtroom was when I was in the courtroom, when I was giving testimony.
Yes.
When I wasn't giving testimony, I wasn't present in the courtroom. Because it wasn't my trial.
Was it tough, the feeling between you and him when you were testifying?
Oh, I don't know, Tony. I don't know the answer to that. All I know is that the district attorney's office realized that my statements were bogus, not true, and that there were too many inconsistencies to ignore.
Okay. The
district attorney's office under John Vandekamp, who was the district attorney of Los Angeles at that time, he turned around. This is at the start, before the trial started, Bono's trial started. And he and his staff went through every piece of document, every fact, every piece of evidence they had, and his Vandekamp's deputies, who was Jim Hines and Roger Kelly, walked into court and moved to dismiss all charges against Angelo, because there was literally my statements were deemed unreliable, and there was no other evidence to link Angelo to any crimes. None. All they had was garbage, questionable information. What they did was they did the sink approach. In other words, they even threw in the kitchen sink. They didn't. The judge called the police chief that night. He said he would take under advisement, and the police chief, according to his book, told the judge, you need to go ahead with this prosecution. So the judge dismissed the district attorney's office in Los Angeles and put the attorney general's office on the case. And the reason why he put the attorney general's office on the case, the political reason was that the attorney general, Dugmagian, was running for governor, and the judge in Angelo's case wanted to be elevated to the state Supreme Court, but he could not be elevated to the state Supreme Court unless the trial went forward and Dugmagian was given the case and Dugmagian became governor, because in California it's the governor who appoints who goes on the Supreme Court. Sure enough, Dugmagian, who was the attorney general who was given the Bono case, he became the governor, and when he became the governor and the Bono trial was over with and stuff, he elevated Ron George to be Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court.
You just heard it. Tony asked Kenny, did Kelly testify against you? Ken acts like he didn't know, which is interesting, given he knows she couldn't have testified because he never went to trial, and he knows that. So instead of saying that, right, He never went to trial. That's all he had to say. And he didn't go to trial because he beefed and copped a fucking plea deal like the little rat that he was.
And he is a fucking rat.
Yeah.
He's a rat. You hear me, Kenny? You're a rat. The lowest thing in the world, a rat.
Then Ken says, and Kelly went on the radio station in late 1979 or 1980 when I was in the L.A. County Jail for Angelo's trial. Ken said she was a smart girl, and she supposedly said she didn't know how Kenny could have committed the crimes because he was always home with her. Now
hold on.
Yeah, now that's what Ken says.
That's what Ken says.
That's the bullshit.
Yeah, but the truth was she was busy over at my house.
Oh, she was at Tony C's.
She was at Tony C's house, right? I was getting mine. I was getting what was coming to me. Right, Kelly? That's okay. I can have fun with Kelly. She was a dirty little girl.
Oh, God.
Sleeping with serial killers, sleeping with cops, sleeping with Tony Ciaglia. How old was I, Dad, when this was all going on?
Well, you were born in 77, so you were 3. You were 3.
I was 3.
Yeah, Dice Clay. What did he say?
I was
Coxman.
3, but I was busy.
Yeah, busy boy.
Yes.
All right. Now, if Kelly was so smart, how did Ken have her believe that he had cancer? Tony, I don't think they know this story.
Okay. This is bad.
Yeah.
And I always think people who fake illnesses like that, God gives you that illness. But that wasn't the case with Kenny. I don't think he's ever had cancer.
No.
And so I'm going to tell you guys a little story here. Okay? It's amazing that Ken he actually faked hospital reports. Okay? And he would tell her he was having treatments. Oh, yeah.
And they had to be at night.
They had to be at night. You take over because this is important.
Yeah. And
Not that I couldn't fucking do it, right? It's if it's important. But you're good at
pay
this.
Pay me later. No, but he did. And I don't know. Maybe people do know this. I don't know. But Kenny, with this smart girl, Kelly, that he was talking about, had her believe, it was a ruse. He had her believe that he was dying from cancer. And when he was out, he was actually out trolling the fucking streets with his reptilian cousin looking for victims. Kelly thought he was in there getting treatment because he gave her a load of bullshit. How he had to go in at night because he didn't have real good insurance. And he was so bad they were fitting him in, and it was dangerous, but they had to get these things done or he probably was going to die from cancer. He never had fucking cancer.
And also, I wonder if Kelly knew that her great Kenny was actually a psychiatrist. And he was renting space with a fake license. All right? This is incredible. This was when he stole Stephen Walker's information and fake diploma. He faked a diploma, you guys. He faked a diploma in his name, Stephen Walker's name. For $10, all right, he advertised this asinine, moronic, unbelievable thing here. For $10, Dr. Stephen Walker would answer 5 questions.
No, Dr. Kenneth Bianchi. He put his name on the diploma.
I messed that up.
No, you didn't. No, you were right on, but that's the only thing you messed up. No, he was the psychiatrist, Kenneth Bianchi. He actually changed. He was pretty good. He's a phenomenal con man.
Yes.
And that came back to bite him in the ass, with the hypnosis. Because Steve was the killer, remember? And Steve
and they put that together.
Walker was the name of the kid that he stole all of his degrees. So this guy went to school to be a doctor and wound up Dr. Kenneth Bianchi.
It's so beautiful? Crazy. Yeah. And what kind of moron?
You know how many clients he had, guys?
1. Because I'm just thinking, what kind of moron would think that an actual doctor would charge you $10 for 5 questions? Right?
Just amazing.
Do you guys notice how Ken's voice changed? And I had to repeat myself 3 times. 3 times when I asked him about Angelo's trial in Los Angeles. Like he didn't fucking know what I was talking about, right?
And that's what you were talking about.
That's what I was talking
with
about.
Kelly and I, that's what you were talking about.
Dad, let's role play here, okay? All right?
Okay. You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's role play.
All right. Who are you?
I'm going to be myself.
Oh, shit.
Because I wouldn't even role play as Kenneth Bianchi.
Here we go.
Say I was getting like $2 million to play Kenneth Bianchi in a movie. Fuck that. I wouldn't take it.
The lowly co-host gets to be Captain
Kenneth.
Just fucking salute me. And then that'll be okay then. All right. We'll role play. I'll be Ken.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And about Angelo's crimes. Were you in Los Angeles?
Pardon?
Was it in L.A.? The trial for Angelo.
Was what in L.A.?
While you're in prison, asshole. The trial for the California crimes?
What about it?
Did I stutter? Why you're in prison, asshole?
Don't you wish it would have went down that way?
Would have been great.
It would have been.
If I could have said that to him?
Yes. Yeah.
No, but he said that to me.
Oh, no. All of that was said.
What about it?
Yeah. What about it? Pardon?
You pardon.
Asshole.
Then all of a sudden, he knew, and it wasn't even his trial, you guys. He didn't have a trial because he was a witness against the reptile, the lizard, his cousin, Angelo Bono. Kenny fails to say that. He makes it clear he never had a trial, but leaves out the fact that he ratted, right? He ratted his cousin out like puke.
Yeah.
He's puke.
Mm-hmm.
He started rambling about everything, no evidence. Everything he said was bogus and false testimony. All they had was garbage and questionable information from fake witnesses.
Well, Ken, I have a question for you. If you have all the answers, and it was all political, and they had no verifiable evidence, because that's what you fucking said to Tony on the phone, then let me ask you again. Why did you plead guilty? And why didn't you go to trial and prove that you were innocent instead of spending 44 fucking years in prison saying you're innocent over and over again? It was everybody's fault, wasn't it? Everything was false.
Yeah, Ken, say it to the bars while you sniff the shit of your neighbor.
Yeah.
So basically, the Hillside Strangler was made up.
No,
I mean-
there apparently is somewheres someone who did these, but that person is not me and it's not Angelo.
Sorry, Ken, but no matter how hard you try to lie and how many silly little stories you come up with, the true facts of the case prove beyond any reasonable doubt that Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Bono are the Hillside Stranglers.
And you both are sentenced to death.
I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
Hey, real quick, before you wrap it up, hand me that book. We'll just show that book. So, interesting book and interesting doctor. We've talked to her, kind of checking the schedules, but we're going to try and have her on the show. But she actually had her office in the LA County jail, and she talked to Ken Bianchi back then, and she talked to a lot of the guys. She talked to Doug Clark, Bill Bonin, many of the serial killers, and it was her job to keep them from committing suicide. Interesting book, interesting doctor, and hopefully she's going to come on the show. So, okay.
All right.
That was all I wanted to say.
I like it.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, this was a good show. A lot of information coming from all directions.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And then always remember, you got Kelly right in the middle.
Poor Kelly.
All right. It's a wrap, everyone. As always, take care, stay safe, and remember, always walk in the calm after the storm. And be careful out there. There are Kenneth Bianchis, unfortunately, walking amongst us.